क्या आप आईएएस की तैयारी कर रहे हैं और कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स को 2.5 लाख तक की फीस नहीं पे करना चाहते? अगर हाँ, तो 22,500 रुपए में घर बैठ के StudyIQ के पेनड्राइव कोर्स के साथ आप आईएएस की तैयारी कर सकते हैं। आज ही विजिट करें StudyIQ.com.
A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Let's have a positive start. It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves, has been said by William Shakespeare. That means that we have to work hard to change our destiny, to change our present, to have a better future. We have to work, right? We cannot rely on our stars alone. With this, dear friends, first editorial that we have is BCCI revamp. You know, this conflict of interest was a big issue as far as BCCI's operation was concerned. We have seen that many important players, when I say players, I mean to say that many important office bearers of BCCI were having their own IPL teams and things like that. So conflict of interest was something that was quite visible in BCCI. There were few people who were holding this important or top level position for a very long period of time, and you know, then we see this nepotism and other things taking place. So to sort this thing out, the Supreme Court constituted Lodha Committee. Now the gentleman here, Lodha, R.M. Lodha, I think, if I'm not wrong, R.M. Lodha, yes, here we go, Justice R.M. Lodha, was former Chief Justice of India, and under his leadership, under this committee, went through various different things that were going wrong with BCCI, and then it presented its recommendations to Supreme Court. And now Supreme Court has made a little bit of changes, you know, pragmatic modifications, you can say, logical, more sensible modifications, because Lodha committee was a bit harsh, right, on this BCCI, but being a bit harsh, a little bit harsh, does not mean that it was wrong. No, at that point of time, I'm talking about what, a couple of years ago, 2016 or 2015, it was in news because of too many wrong things were going on in BCCI. But anyways, so this pragmatic modification number 1 includes this office bearer. They can continue for another 3 years. So in total, they can stay in a particular office for 6 years. Now, as per this Lodha committee, a person should hold an office for 3 years, and after that, that person should be kept in 3 years cooling off period. That means you will not be allowed to get elected or selected in any position whatsoever as far as BCCI is concerned. This was a recommendation from Lodha committee. Supreme Court has said that that if a person is elected, say for example, as the main man or a chief of BCCI for 3 years, then it will take good 1 year for him to get used to with things, and for next 2 years he will start performing, or he will start delivering results, and within 3 years he will be a reasonably good expert. And if people who are part of this voting and other things, if they think that this person is the best man or woman that we have that can continue this position, then it should be allowed, because it will be beneficial. Now this person is master of what his duty is, right? You know, he's master of his job now. So he or she will be able to deliver good results. So we should take advantage of this thing. So this is a very, you can say, pragmatic modification. And of course, after that, after a tenure of 6 years, a person should be kept in cooling off period, so that he or she does not continue it forever. Supreme Court has also recognized these associations. In states like Gujarat, you have 3 different cricket associations. In state like Maharashtra, you have again 3 different associations. So what Lodha committee was suggesting, that one state should have only 1 vote. But what about these associations like Gujarat Association and this Maharashtra Association? They have significantly contributed to Indian cricket, right? They have provided good players to Indian cricket team. So we cannot take away this, we cannot strip them of their full membership. So these are 2 changes. With this, dear friends, second item that we have is about immigrants, right? It is this article that we are going through in its exclusionary state. Now let's talk about practical world, right? If someone migrates from some other area, right, into your area, and if that person is extraordinarily rich, right, very rich person, big bungalow, big cars, then people in society, they will talk about that person or that family, that they are so gentle and they're so nice and they have these cars and this and that, and they will become talk of that society for at least a few weeks, and people will start, and you will find that people will be happy to help them and all these things because they have this money. Now let's change this family. Just imagine if a very poor family is has just migrated, and do you think that family will be treated in the same way? Of course not, right? And this is not something that is going on in our society only. We find this thing in developed countries as well. If you apply for visa and if you say that you are ready to purchase a big bungalow over there and you are ready to purchase a couple of properties over there and things like that, if you invest in that in these countries, right, then they will say that, come on, right, we are ready to give you visa. So this is how it is working, and it is very sad. Gandhiji has said that a person who is honest and a person who is earning his bread by working hard, he or she does not get that much respect compared to a person who is just rich. A person could be, I'm not saying every rich person is a cheater, not at all, that would be not right, but what we are saying is that even if a person is a very bad person as far as character is concerned, but if he or she has just money, then respect is, people's respect he can earn, or he can purchase people's respect, if we can put it this way. So if we go through 2011's census, we find that 139 million people moved within our country, right? They migrated from one state to another because of for livelihood opportunities and for work, and this figure could be a bit bigger now because of transportation facilities and communication facilities and things like that. So what we are trying to discuss here is that see the case of Rohingyas, right? See Syrian people going in Europe and other places. You find that because they are coming from an unfamiliar, they are in an unfamiliar world, right? They are still learning how to behave, how to walk, how to talk in that particular, how to eat and how to communicate. So all these etiquettes, they have still not got it right, or they are still learning. And of course, in advantage will be locals, right? Local people can do whatever they like because they have this upper hand. They know that these people are coming here, or they have been forcefully kicked out of their country, so they have nowhere to go. So they are exploited. They live in subhuman conditions, and it's not just about Syrians, or it's not just about Rohingyas. Same thing applies with our people as well, right? We have seen this thing in our country that I think it was in 2016 or 2015. This thing was noticed in Bangalore city, where people from Assam were teased and harassed, and there was a big thing, right? People from Assam started leaving this Bangalore because few people or few groups were torturing them. In smart city programs, we have decided that we are going to create 99 smart cities in our country, and we are ready to spend 2039 billion rupees after it. But after 3 years of its launch, only 8% of job is done so far. What we find and what is disturbing is that this smart cities, they have no room for migrants, particularly poor people, right? They are forcefully, they're slums, and they have to live in slums. They don't have any option at all. So they have to, they are forcefully kicked out of their houses and kacha makans, and they have their shelters demolished, and this is something that is going on in 32 smart cities, or so-called smart cities, that we are trying to create. The reason why it is not a big issue in our country is because the first reason is that politicians, right, they are not that much concerned about these interstate migrants, because they will not vote for them. They are not going to, or they will not be able to vote, right? So they have nothing in their hand. They can vote back home, but they cannot vote here. So because of this thing, they are, you can say, ignored, right? They are totally ignored. The other thing is, international boundaries are hot topics, right? Talk about Rohingyas coming here, and you can create this panic and threat in the minds and hearts of people of West Bengal and Assam. So it is a topic that can create attraction rather than this interstate migration. So it's international boundaries are national obsession at present. So this is one of the reasons why this thing is not discussed that much. But we have to keep in our mind that everyone is equal in our country. Right, we have constitution, and if a person is living in a slum, then it is the responsibility of government to make sure that shelter is provided to that person. It is responsibility of a state or a government to provide basic dignity, livelihood, opportunity. Under MG Narega you have, right? So when we talk about basic dignity, we are talking about house, we are talking about clothes, we are talking about food, we are talking about water, education, health. All these things, right, are a responsibility of our various state governments as well as our governments. So they cannot shy away from this thing. If they are thinking if politics is the only thing that is important, then they are in a wrong track. Moving on to another item, it is something similar, right, interrelated thing, and it is about undoing a legacy of injustice. British Raj, under this British Raj, they introduced this Criminal Tribes Act. British used to treat us very badly, not the current ones. I'm talking about this colonial era time Britishers. They used to consider us inferior, and particularly when we talk about nomadic and other communities that are closer to nature. They rely on nature, right? We find two types of movements as far as our nomadic tribes are concerned, right? One is vertical one, and one is horizontal one. In vertical one, they are a bit closer to nature, so they know this thing very well, that they will find good food in the months of summer, the higher heights of or higher altitude of a particular hill or mountain. So they will move towards this higher altitude, and in winter time, of course, it will be impractical. It will be too much cold, snowfall and things like that, so it's better to come down, and you will find food for your flock of sheep and goat in this valley area compared to, I'm talking about winter time. So this is a sort of vertical migration, and then you have horizontal migration. People who used to predominantly have cows and other things, right? Cows and other cattle. So they used to follow this rainfall, right? They used to follow this south to north, or maybe east north to eastern migration. Banjaras and other communities are quite famous in our country. So these tribes were looked as dangerous tribes by British, because the main purpose of British government was, or British Raj was, to collect as much as tax possible, right? Collect wealth, even if you have to exploit people, do it, but generate as much as revenue as possible, because corruption was quite prevalent in British Raj, right? If you are not aware, then let me tell you this thing as well. So because of this reason, it was this nomadic people. They used to migrate from this place to another place, right? Their movements and lifestyles were considered, or they were considered as not a good thing. They were looked with great skepticism. It was difficult to track them. It was difficult to control them. So they were termed as criminals, right? They were termed as criminals. The whole tribe, the whole community was termed as criminal. Can you believe this thing? Now, after independence, right, it took ages for us to get rid of this sort of acts, and still we do have this colonial hangover. It is something that is much in continuity, because we have this Begging Act. Begging Act was again criminalized by British people, And this act, gives extraordinary powers to policemen that they can arrest a beggar without any warrant as well. Magistrates, they can create these certified institutions, and certified institutions are more sort of detention centers, and they can be kept behind this detention center. They can be kept in it, behind the bars for 3 years, and if they are a second time offender, then they can be kept for 10 years. Can you believe this thing? Just when you are hungry, when the whole society is not supporting you, you become so poor that you have to rely on alms and aids given by other people. This is considered as begging. Again, it is a responsibility of government, and their privacy and their dignity is also stripped away from them, because as per this begging act, their fingerprints can be taken without their permission. It can be taken by the state, by the government. So this is again against the fundamental rights and privacy. Then the certified institutions, they can increase punishment, right, of manual work, and they have this right to decide power of punishment and things like that. So this is a very sad thing. What we are trying to erase here is we are trying to erase people here, right? We are trying to keep them away from with this acts. That's what British people try to do. They try to keep them behind the bars and behind or away from the eyes of the people and society, so that they run out of from your memory as well. Something that is out of your sight is out of something out of sight is out of mind. That's what they say. So that's something that British tried with the help of this begging act. And 2010 Commonwealth Game, we did same thing, right, in Delhi. Poor people, beggars, were taken off the street and they were chucked, or they were sent somewhere else. And this is clearly, Delhi High Court has recently took a stand. Delhi High Court has said that this begging act is violating Article 14, equality before law, and Article 21, that is right to life and personal liberty. So let's hope that other state governments are also implementing this decision of Delhi High Court, and we need to get rid of this colonial draconian rules and regulations. In fact, we should work for a society in which every single person is having access to food, clothing and shelter. With this, dear friends, another item that we have is this one, Wheel of Justice. Very interesting article, right? It is about connection between religion and law. If we go back in history, then we find that all these rules and regulations that we used to have back in time were coming as in the form of religion. Like let's take example of sati system. It was considered a very pure or pious system back in time, but if we analyze it from today's point of view, then we find that it is about lack of woman empowerment. It is lack of women's ability to earn, or economic incapacity of women in this era. It could be this patriarchal society as well, because if a lady, for example, is a widow now, and if she's young, then there are chances that she may fall in love with someone else, and this would have been considered as a bad thing at that point of time. So this was promoted, or it was added with religious beliefs, right? It was said that this is very pure, you will go to heaven and you will meet up your husband and things like that. Now, this is right or wrong, we'll leave it for theologians to decide. But Raja Ram Mohan Rai came out with this logic. He said that this is illogical, right? At that point of time, it was believed that women were inferior, or they are weak as far as this mental capacity is concerned. But this was something that was opposed by British people as well. So it's good. We are very glad that we have ended this system of sati. So what I'm trying to say here is that religion, if you want to change something, We are talking about history, right? At that point of time, if you want to change something in society, then you have to use religion, right? Religious laws were followed by people, and it is something that is still going on. And the reason why we are discussing this particular article is because the Sabrimala case that is going on, and there are people who out there, they are not happy with this decision of Supreme Court. There are people out there, they are not happy with decision of Supreme Court about triple talaq and things like that. Now there is various different religions, right? They have different practices that are not in line with the constitution of our country. And because of this thing, there are people who they start believing this thing that constitution is destroying their religion, but that is not right at all. Constitution is equal for everyone. And the other thing is this particular case, or this particular article, is about a case, Tirupati case. In this Tirupati case, and this case was fought in British Raj era, and it was about stealing a pujari, or the main priest of a temple of this Tirupati Balaji. He was accused, or it was been alleged by a person that that person has, this pujari or this priest has stolen some money, gold coins and things like that. So this case went into court, and this argument was given by this priest's lawyer that once you have constructed this flagstaff, right? You cannot uproot it, you cannot remove it. It will be against religion. But this was countered very well by a very able lawyer who later on became Chief Justice or Justice of Andhra Pradesh or Madras High Court. I think Madras High Court, of course, because it was in British era. So he said, "Fiat justitia rue caelum." That means justice. Let justice be done, even though heavens fall. Whatever happens, if someone's religious, if their beliefs are hurting, then that's fine. But justice should never be compromised with. And this was followed by courts at that point of time. Even today as well, this thing has been followed by the courts. And what we find is that many times people are not happy with the decision. But at the end of the day, when it comes to religious faith versus the law, we have to stick with law, because the constitution is the supreme thing of our country. All the powers that we have is coming from Supreme Court. With this, dear friends, these two items that you find here, this one and this one, is about this gentleman here that you can see on your screen. His name is Vidyadhar Suraj Prasad Naipaul. He got a Nobel Prize back in 2001. If you are preparing for bank exams or an SSC and other exams, then I'm sure you are aware about this thing, that they ask you this type of questions as well about latest person in news. And they ask you a question about if a person is a writer, then you can be asked about the name of his or her book as well. So I have one more picture here. Of course, you know that you can download the PDF once this video is released. So you can go through it, and you must go through it, and you should remember the names that you can see on your screen. I'm talking about just book names. You don't have to remember his whole life, right? Just go through his important books. The latest news, ISRO. You know it very well. It's a very, you can say, outstanding government organization that's performing most of the time very well, right? 99% time it's performing very well. And ISRO has identified some 50 missions in next 3 years that it is going to execute. You can see some missions are given here, but I'll take you through some important ones. In 2019, we are going to launch a solar mission Aditya L1, navigation satellite IRNSS-1J, and geostationary Earth imager GSAT will be launched as well. On front page, we find that Home Minister Rajnath Singh took a bird's eye view of this flood-ravaged Kerala. He has released 100 crore rupees assistance for the state of Kerala. He has also assured that if you need extra help, then just shout out. We are going to go through your additional demands of relief assistance, and we will be there we are there, and if you need anything, then National Disaster Response Force is also at your disposal. With this, he has also said that 38 people have died, and not Home Minister, but the state authorities have said that 38 have died and 1 lakh plus people are shifted to 1026 relief camps. So let's pray for our brothers and sisters who are in trouble over there. And one of the reasons why we see this sort of things is climate change, and we are the ones who are responsible behind this climate change. Khalistan rally was taken out in Trafalgar Square, that is in London, UK, and there was a counter rally as well, conducted by 200 people. To counter this pro-Khalistan rally, Indian diplomatic missions have decided that they are going to celebrate the 550th birth anniversary of Sikh faith Guru Nanak. And what they are asking for, this Khalistan people, they want to create a referendum on in this for a Sikh homeland in 2020. This is something that is not possible at all. CJI is master of roster. I'm sure you know about it, so I'm not going into the detail. The reason why I have added this item is just for your revision and for Hindi medium students. So you know that division of work, the authority that will decide division of work and subject of cases that a particular judge will look after is decided by Chief Justice of India alone, and not by collegium. No facility exists for training Navy crew, has been said by the CAG report, that the stimulators that are required, we don't have them, we haven't purchased them, and because of this thing we are not able to give our boys proper training. Use Aadhaar freely without fear. Once you download this PDF, please go through this report, and I have some news items from Finance World as well. RBI has said that this discrimination of support as far as this private versus public company is concerned, government is supporting public companies in the field of energy production, but that much help is not provided to private companies, and because of this thing private companies may come down, because these government companies are having extra advantage, which is of course not healthy for economy. We need a free and fair competition in the market. Government should support private companies as well. And moving on to another item, it is about bone of contention. It is about this interoperability of mobile wallet companies. So this is something that is not acceptable, because what these payment banks are claiming, that this will allow wallets to have almost similar features without regulatory checks on them. So this will be a disadvantage for payment banks. So they are not happy with this decision. That's why it is called bone of contention. Road to autonomy, it is about providing more autonomy to IIM. And the only thing that I believe you should keep in your mind is this Bhargava committee is related with autonomy of IIM. It was constituted during Manmohan Singh's period. Checks and balances, it is about SEBI, right? SEBI has sounded out stockbrokers on the proposal. It wants investors to investors' assets certified, so that they are not breaching their limits that they have. Right at present, we don't find any limits, and because of this thing, many times people come into debts as well. So SEBI has said that the certificates should be provided by CAs and brokers are saying that this limitation or these restrictions will hit their business. As far as CSR is concerned, one third of total CSR is invested in education, which is a good thing. Vocabulary, you can quickly go through it. I'm sure you don't need this thing, right? If you need it, then it will be there in PDF. Most of you have got it right. This is Turkey here, Black Sea and Mediterranean Sea here. And today's map-based question is this small island, right? A small hint is Caribbean. Moving on to another item. Questions for you guys, and up to 50% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. This is going to last till 16th August only, so make sure you make the most out of it. And that's everything. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other people. Pass your answers in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button. I will see you all soon. God bless you all. Jai Hind.